Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I just want to thank you all for the likes and subscribes and comments. Meeting a lot of cool people, especially the USACC group build, jumping in and seeing what other guys are doing. So we're going to do an update to that tonight. I did chop the F100. It looks awesome, but I didn't record doing it. So I'm going to do the best to show you what I did after the fact. I just can't figure out how to film me working. Those guys that do that, hats off to you. That's amazing. You have setups and you have patience that I don't have yet. Of course, I've only been doing this thing for a little while, so I'll get better. So yeah, I'm gonna show you some things on the F100 that I did. It's looking pretty good. All right, here it is, y'all. I was really on the fence whether to chop this thing, and I just went for it. I actually, only like 1 or 2 people commented you should chop it, and that was enough for me. I was easily swayed by peer pressure, and I chopped it. But one of the things I was holding off on was I wanted to do it, kind of plan it out in my head and do it in a way that didn't get me in over my head as far as too many cuts and too many things to repair. So I kind of schemed, thought, looked, plotted, and came up with what I did. So, all right, well, here we go. So I didn't want to chop it so much that I needed to widen the roof. So the roof is stock. I didn't want to do that. So what I've done is chopped it just enough to not have to widen that. And basically what I ended up having to do was lean the A-pillars back, okay? So I leaned the A-pillars back to meet the top, and that way I didn't have to cut it. It's got a really nice profile. The back window looks really cool, as you can see, and I did not cut the roof. All right, so let me put this down and zoom in a little bit, see if I can explain a few things here. All right, here we go. All right, so what I really tried to do after I cut, and I think I only cut about maybe 1/8 of an inch out of it. I think it was about the same amount from the section. When I glued it back together, I really made sure that this door line and this body line were perfectly straight on both sides. That was my goal. Now, this F100, not only does the pillars slant this way, but this back side actually slants up a little bit, and from side to side it actually slants up. So there's a lot more curves to this roof than it looks. So what I ended up doing was lining up this door line right here and this body line, and what I ended up having was a really big lip back here, okay? There was a pretty good sized lip back here. The bottom was wider than the top, but that's okay because there was still enough for it to glue on there. So I glued that down, and what I do when I chop is I want to use super glue. Super glue is like one shot, and I want to be able to move it around a little bit. So I use the extra thin cement to get it set where I want, because that'll give you some wiggle room and let you move it around for a few minutes. And then I let that dry, and then I go over the seams with super glue after that. So even though there was a pretty good lip there, that was able to file down really well. Now I'm gonna lose a little bit of detail in here. Like this edge is gone in there. I could probably put it back. I may or may not. I'm not super concerned with it, but actually, now that I think about it, if this is a rubber seal, I don't need to put the detail back. I can just use like a Sharpie, run along this edge, and then run it right up the side and over. And the black mark will be there, but the detail won't be there, and you will never know. I'll probably do that on the windshield too, because right here, I lost the detail from the front window strip right here. But as it zoomed in here, you can see where I had to cut the A-pillar. Had to cut the A-pillar here and here to lean it back. And this is where I actually chopped it. But to lean it back, I had to cut it here and here, and I left it attached down here. I did not cut it all the way. but it weakened it here and here that I was able to shove it back with my finger. And the plastic is kind of really white right here. You know, plastic gets lighter when you stretch it. And then it did super glue, or did the Tamiya glue, then super glue, and then when it was all said and done, I had a little bit of a dog leg in the A-pillar. You can kind of see it still. Kind of goes, because this is going this way and this is going this way. To fix it probably right, quote unquote, I would need to slice it here and here and kick the top of that A-pillar out. But I didn't want to do that. It's just too many more cuts that I needed to repair. I figured I could just fix it like it is, and I think I did a pretty good job. So with the file, I cheated this side a little flat, cheated that side a little flat, so I flattened it out, and then I dug out the door line with the Tamiya panel line scriber. And so you can see it a little bit, but not really. I'm gonna lose a little bit of the detail right here because I cut it here and I glued this seam. I'm gonna get some small files out and kind of work that a little bit, not totally give up on it, but probably gonna lose a little detail there. As you can see, there's a little dip left right here in the door. I just need to put a little super glue on that, let it dry, and file it down. The vent wings got busted in the chop. I actually didn't mean to do that. I meant to cut them out and save them and then put them back in, and they got busted as I was filing, and this is just some styrene rod. If I wanted to be lazy, I could just delete the vent wings altogether, but they weren't really deleting vent wings back then. I mean, I'm not saying they never did, it just wasn't something they did very often, so I left the vent wings in. So there's a chop. I didn't have to cut the roof side to side and lengthen it. I just leaned the bottom of this A-pillar back. You can see the cut there, and there's a relief cut here. Also up here, this prow was like really substantial, so I knocked this down with an 80 grit emery board quite a bit. I don't know if it helps any, but I feel like it looks better. I don't really know. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to minimize the cuts and the repairs, and so I chopped it just enough to where I didn't have to lengthen it. Chopping it any more than this, you would have really had to crank the A-pillars back. There would have been too big of a dog leg here, or not doing the A-pillars and lengthening the roof from front to back to meet the A-pillars. So I kind of just, I chopped it just about as much as you could, but I really like it. It is very, very proportional now, if you look at it from back here. Let me zoom out a little bit. I feel like the section and the chop match now, and it's just got a good look to it. A couple other things I've been doing is trying out some different custom grills. Right now I'm doing the moon tank and the quad headlights. These used to be canted, and this is a 53 F100 AMT canted grill, but I cut the bars out and turned them. I may still cant them, I don't know, and tried out that moon tank. I really like this look. It's pretty tough, hot roddy. I may go with that, actually. I had this in there, which is a classic great custom grill, but this has been around in the 53 F100 kits of the 60s. Tons of people have used it. And I don't try to do things just to be different, but that's pretty cool and that's different. I have not seen that very often. I've seen it once or twice, but not very often. I've also got the AMT competition parts pack grill set. So I've been kind of fiddling around with some different grills from this thing. A lot of them don't fit. The F100 has a very weird grill opening, so I just kind of been playing around with this stuff. I've got these Chrysler grills. Whoops, that's backwards. That's way too small. It looks like it fits where I'm holding it, but that's an incorrect perspective. It's actually too small. And then I got the Chrysler 300 grill. That kind of can go up in there. There's actually a real F100 that has this grill with canted quads. That's a possibility. It's a little too wild for me perhaps, but I've been just trying to do some different things. One of the things I'm kind of stuck on is what engine to use in this thing. And here's another 124 scale thing that's kind of biting me, and really wishing, again, this was the AMT 125th scale 53, is the F100 engine bay is already huge. And so when most of your engines in your stash are 125th scale, you put an engine in there and it just looks tiny. I had a 409 Chevy in there. It looked minuscule. It really looked small. So I don't know what to do. Maybe find a 124 scale engine to put in there. Maybe the big block Chevys from the Monogram 39 Chevy kits. But big block Chevys isn't super period correct for this era of build. This is more early 60s. The big block came out in 65. Yeah, it don't really fit. Also, there's a small block Chevy in the Monogram 37 Ford kit, but getting period correct dress up things is going to be difficult for that small block Chevy, but it is 124 scale. Anyway, one last little design element I'm thinking about. I think I'm finally done customizing this thing. It looks pretty good. But I've been calling this thing in the front the snowplow. This kit this thing is huge and way too big. The stalkers don't look like that. This fender goes way down too far. It does make it look lower, so there's that. So I can't decide whether to cut some off the bottom of this, but then it won't look as cool as low, or to distract your eyeball with maybe drilling some speed holes across this thing or some chrome bullets or something like that. So trying to figure out what to do with the snowplow. Everybody who builds this kit is going to have to do something with the snowplow unless they run a bumper, which I'm not going to run a bumper. So anyways, thanks guys for coming by. Man, I really appreciate all the love and the comments, and thanks. We're going to keep building models. Take care.